we're going to get going. So we're going to start with a bit of an intro. So my name's Cam Elliott, probably already knew that. I've run multiple businesses and sold a couple of them. I've worked a lot in the tech and the SaaS industry, so software as a service. And I'm the current owner of the Growth Engine and its little cousin, the Growth Agent. So I do a lot of consulting with businesses to help them generate more revenue and then to implement technologies that can grow revenue, save cost, and improve efficiencies within their business. I've also been running AI retreats in Byron Bay for the last few months as well, and something that we're having to continue doing. So lots going on at the moment, but that's a little bit about who I am. So I'd love just to get a bit of a feel from anyone who's already currently using custom GPTs. So if you are already using them, you can just let me know if you've never used one or if you've used them multiple times, or maybe you've just tried it once. Pop that in the chat. That'd be fantastic. So there's lots of different ways that you can obviously be using custom GPTs. We're going to focus today on the Chat GPT version, but most of the big LLMs have a custom GPT version. So, for example, Gemini has what's called a gem. Claude has Claude Projects. Copilot, Microsoft's Copilot has Copilot agents. So there's different, depending on what your chat you prefer to use. They've got different ways that you can access these. So we're going to focus today on custom GPTs, which is what's owned by Chat, mostly because they tend to be the ones that most people use still, and are probably the best, in my opinion, at the moment, as far as creating custom GPTs from a simplicity point of view, and the ability to be able to use them in multiple ways. Okay, great. So thanks, Chris. Yep, using them, but would love to use them more. Okay, well, we're going to look at 3 different types today. So hopefully that sparks some ideas. But even if these things aren't relevant for you guys, we can still take whatever it is that we're going to talk about today and use it to be able to build GPTs in whatever format we like. So please try and have that, I guess, in terms of as you're going through this, be thinking about the different ways that you might be able to implement these in your business or even in your life. So let's see how that goes. All right, so thanks for sharing that. I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see what I'm talking about. And so I'll put the entire screen on, share. Before I start, I'm going to just share a little bit of an insight into ChatGPT. So if you are a chat user, this would be really relevant, but if you use Gemini or Claude or one of the other models, they've got similar setups as well. So, but a lot of people miss this. Down in the bottom left-hand corner where your name is, you can do what's called personalization. So I always, when I'm working with clients, it's the first step that I do is I make sure that they've got this set up. And I've just really simplified my one so that it's easy to be able to demonstrate it. But you can look at being able to, first things you can turn it on, so enable that customization. Then you can put in instructions. So I say, like, use an encouraging tone. I like to be supported, but actually my main thing is that I want the truth. I don't want to just be told that I'm doing a good job, or that my ideas are great, or that I should definitely do something and it will never fail. And so I really drive that home, say, tell it like it is, don't sugarcoat your responses. But you can write whatever you want in here. It also gives you prompts of different things that you could put on there. You put in what you like to be called. You can make that whatever you like. If you want to think of a new name for yourself, go for it. I put in my occupation, so I'm a consultant in business development space, etc. And I put in the information about me, and then I put in more information about myself. So I run ultra marathons. I love surfing and snow skiing. I've got 2 daughters. I kind of give them roughly how old they are. Also managed to put my wedding date in there, just so that you can maybe help me not get in trouble for forgetting that one. So I want it to reference saved memories. So this is what helps chat to be able to build a profile of the type of person that I am, the way that I communicate, the business that I'm in, the outcomes that I like to achieve. So super important. If you haven't got that switched on, I would definitely recommend doing that. And also referencing the chat history, and there's some advanced stuff down there. Okay, I'll leave that for now, just a little bonus tidbit. So if you're not familiar with a custom GPT, I might just start by talking about why you would use a custom GPT and when is the right time to use it. And the number one is that it needs to be a repeatable task. So there's no point using a custom GPT for a task that's not repeatable. So if it's something that's only going to be done once, just use normal ChatGPT or Gemini, whichever model you use. The main purpose for this custom GPT is something that you can go back to, and with minimal effort, you can get a desired outcome based on the boundaries that you have set for that particular custom GPT. So an example of that might be something like creating content for my blog. If I know that I need to create a blog, I do it once a month or once a week, I write an article, and maybe I want it to write the whole article, or maybe I just want it to give me ideas for an article, or maybe I want it to structure an article that I can then go and fill out. Depending on what I want to do, I can set up the GPT in a way that it will do that for me every week without me having to give it all the different prompts about how I like to communicate, how long I want it to be, the unique selling points of my own business that I want to shine in this particular blog piece, all that sort of thing. So we can do that. Another example, and one that I'm going to be using today, I use a custom GPT as my own personal coach. So every Friday, I've got a tool that I've set up that sends me an email, and it says it's time for your one-on-one coaching session. And so I use that GPT to be able to ask me questions about what I've done during the week to see how aligned I am with what are my key priorities, or my North Star, I guess, of what I'm trying to achieve in business and in my life. The second is they're very good with specialization. So if you've got something that you really need to be to act in a unique way, a custom GPT is a great idea, because we want to set it up with the right tone, with the right voice, all that sort of thing. So if it needs to specialize in something, and rather than continually training your chat to specialize in something, this is a great tool to be able to do that. You can train it for specific outcomes or specific tones. You can upload files into a custom GPT. So it's a way that you can have some data that's stored in that file, in that custom GPT for all time, so that it references that file. So this is super important. Again, if we go back to things like creating a content generator, if we can upload other versions of content that we've created, and it can reference those pieces of content so that it creates content in that same style. I'm also going to hopefully have time to create a proposal generator today, where we can use a custom GPT to generate our own proposals. And in that, being able to upload past proposals might be a good way that I'm able to guide this particular GPT to be able to do that for me. So they're the different reasons that we would use one. So if we are looking to be able to repeat them. So question from Nat, thank you for that. Is this only for paid GPT, or would the free edition work for the customization of the GPT-2? I'm quite sure that they do work on the free. I'm sorry, Nat, I haven't haven't tested that, but I'm going to show you where it is. And so if you can't see it, then it's not there. I would recommend, if you use ChatGPT at all, to go onto the Pro plan. It's about $20 a month, I think. It's by far and away the best investment that I have in my business. I use it for so many different things. So, if you're on another tool as well, then you might be on Gemini, for example. I really like Gemini as well, because I'm a Google user, so all my products sit in Google. Okay, so I'm going to start by sharing how do we get into, well, what is a GPT and how do we get there? So you see on the left-hand side of chat, and it'll be pretty quick for you to see there in that as well. If we've got access to GPTs, it should be over here, and you'll probably have this explore button. So the first thing that we can do is use other people's GPTs. Now, if you create your own GPT, you can now upload it to the store. Think of this like the App Store for Apple, or the Google Play Store. And you can choose different GPTs for different industries or purposes. So one for writing, one for productivity. There's education style ones that help you make presentations, all that sort of thing. So a lot of people don't know that this is even in here, but it's a really great free tool that you can use to be able to get instantaneous access to a GPT that's designed for a specific outcome. You can also search up here for ones that you would like to use. But today we're going to focus on creating your own ones. And so in order to be able to do that, I've clicked on Explore. Sometimes it just says GPT here. Everyone's chat is set up a bit differently. They use it to test and see what works and what doesn't. But it almost always has the 4 dots there. And I'm going to click on My GPTs. And I'm going to start by just sharing one that I've already pre-built. So we're going to look at 3 core ones today. One's the CAMS North Star Coach. We're going to start with that. This is one that I've already made, and I'll show you what I did. Then I'm going to build live for you a proposal generator. So a tool that you can use to write proposals, or if you've got presentations that you've got to do to a potential client or a investor or something like that, we can use this tool to be able to do that. And then with time permitting, I'm going to try and create a content generating custom GPT with one of your businesses. And so hopefully I can get a volunteer that can help me out with that. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to use is one that I've built before. And so this is called CAMS North Star Coach. Now, when we click into create a custom GPT, we've got 2 options at the top. One at the top, the left says create, and the second on the right is configure. So all the building gets done on this left side of the screen, and then on the right side of the screen is the products. It's like a preview screen of what we've created. And so if I come over to create, you'll see that there's a chat box down the bottom, and I can use this chat box to be able to build this custom GPT, or I can come in here and I can fill out these boxes myself in order to be able to create it. And I'm going to try and show both ways of doing that today. So this one is called CAMS North Star Coach. So I named that myself. And it's a weekly personal alignment coach that helps Cam reflect, track progress, and stay true to his highest goals. I'm going to share this GPT with you. I'll take all the CAM stuff out of it and I'll create a new one and share it with everyone who came to the webinar as a nice thanks for coming. So you'll have access to this. Oh, that's the other benefit of custom GPTs, is that they're shareable. So if you wanted to design something and then give it to your team, or if you wanted to design something that you could send to clients for them to be able to use, these are a great tool for that. So I'll share this one with you, and I'll show you how I created my North Star as well. And then I do this exercise every Friday. It takes, sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's 45 minutes, but it's the best thing that I do each week in terms of making sure that I'm aligned with what matters to me at a family level, a health level, my business, my work-life balance, my spirituality, whatever it is. I've set this up in a way that helps me to be able to stay aligned with what truly matters to me. So in the instructions, I've said you're a CAMS North Star coach, a reflective, supportive, yet direct AI agent that helps him stay focused on his life goals. CAM's life vision is stored in the North Star map, see knowledge. So you'll note down here, I've put a document in here that is my North Star. So you can upload your own North Star in here, which is the things that are important to you, and I'll get to how I did that in a moment. Each week, we guide him through reflections, prompts based on his categories: mission-driven business, lifestyle, family, adventure, friendship, and family of origin. Ask one question at a time to create a back and forth dialogue with Cam. Your role is to help Cam reflect honestly, track alignment, suggest micro adjustments, keep his energy focused on what matters. Always ask open questions first, then summarize. Tone should be grounded, honest, and then every month summarize the progress with highlights, any drifts where I'm missing the mark, and new actions that I could take in order to become more aligned. So super powerful tool. I love doing this. Below this, we've got conversation starters, so you can add these in. I find they're very good if you're sharing this tool with somebody. If you're using it yourself, I'll often just come in and say, let's start my check-in, and I'll get started on that process. So to create my North Star, all I did was go to ChatGPT and I said, ask me as many questions as you can to help me understand what's really important to me in my life. And this process took me about an hour, and I kept going back and forth. We covered everything that's mentioned in here that I spoke about before. So things like my business, my family, my lifestyle, adventure. And I ended up with a one-page document that was essentially a tool that I could put into my custom GPT so that it could have a starting point to be able to do that. So if I come in, I say, let's start my check-in. I'm just going to click update there. Sorry, one sec. And then I'm going to start, let's start my check-in. I'm going to say it's been a tough week, but I had a few wins too. So I'm just going to, don't worry about spelling mistakes or anything like that. Your chat's good enough that you don't need to. And I'll ask the first question and it will start firing off questions for me. So thanks, Cam. And it's because I've sort of given it some context. It said, okay, what made it tough? What was it more emotional workload? So worked 60 hours this week, need to pare that back, and so I'm just giving it little bits of information. Sometimes I'll start writing and I won't stop writing here. If it asks me a question that's really pertinent, then I'll often end up using this as a catharsis method to be able to get it all out on paper. So I continue to do that. That process normally takes me about half an hour, a bit under half an hour, but just does such a great job of helping analyze what I've done in the last week, but more importantly, set me up for success in the following week. Okay, so the second one that I'm going to share is about how to create your own one. So again, I'm going to click on Explore over here, and then on the right-hand side, I'm going to click Create. Now, I can go about doing this by having inputting all of the information into the configure section, or I can use chat to be able to create one. So I'm going to start with that. So create a GPT for me that I can use to generate proposals for my clients. I sell AI training packages, AI agent custom builds, and so I'm not going to give it a lot of information, partly because I'm such a slow typer, but also because I just want to see how powerful this tool can be, even when it's not directed very well. So I do AI training packages, I do AI agent custom builds, and I do system implementations, lots in the rev gen space, but also in other business systems. So it'll probably ask me some more questions. So you want to build this. Let's begin by setting the foundation of your GPT. Here's what I'll do first. I'll define the initial behavior, how the GPT should act what it should focus on, and how it should communicate. Then we'll move into naming it, creating a profile image, and refining how it works. So calling update to set the starting context. Excellent. The base behavior is now set. Next, let's give your GPT a name. Here are a few ideas you might like. So it's actually already gone and done all of this for me, and it's populated all of these configures for me. So it's only asking me what I want to call it. So let's go with 1, proposal architect. It'll now ask me to create an image, and I can use the inbuilt image generator to be able to do that. I think you're also able to upload your own image into that. And so while it's doing that, has anybody else, good to see, Nat, that it is in the free version as well. Has anyone else got an example of what they have built a custom GPT for? If you've used one in the past, I'd love to hear how you've used it. So just pop it in the chat, and I can talk a little bit about that. Okay, so it's now called Proposal Architect, and it's given me actually an image that we can use. Yep, so keep that one, and we can configure that. So it's gone and done all of that configuring for me. I could come in here and upload files. So if I was going to do that, I might come and choose a proposal that I've already done for somebody else. This is fraught with danger, proposal. Well, maybe choose something else. Or I won't choose one. Oh, here we go. Let's just put this one in. So I'm just choosing another proposal so that it can reference that proposal in which I've done in the past. So slightly off track, but I'm going to talk about probably how I generate 90% of my proposals, and they take me definitely less than 10 minutes, probably closer to 2 in most circumstances. So I use one of these tools, the custom GPT that I've built, but then I go, whenever I have a meeting with anybody, whether I have that meeting virtually or whether I have that meeting face-to-face, I record the meeting. And I do that because there's so many great ways that we can use the content for that. I always ask for permission to be able to do that. As far as things like generating a proposal or sending a really good follow-up email or creating an action plan that comes out of any meeting that I do, recording that meeting is just such a great way to be able to use technology to be able to work more efficiently and get better outcomes. So here's a meeting that I did recently with a company. I'm not sure if Dunya's on the call. If you are, hi Dunya. And we copied that transcript. And I'm just seeing a couple of people in the chat there. So Chris uses that you can make a custom GPT to help make SEO suggestions to improve content. Absolutely. So being able to upload content into the custom GPT that's got specific requirements about the style of SEO that we're trying to do for our business, what's our strategy, rather than having to continually say this is what our strategy is for SEO. It will know because we've built a custom GPT that's just right for that. So great example there, Chris. So in my example here, I have got a meeting that I created with Dunya, and so I'm going to write in here, please create my proposal, and it should be able to spit out for me just based on the conversation that I had. So obviously we spoke about lots of different things in this. I always set my model to thinking as well. It does a much better job. You've got to wait maybe 30 or 40 seconds for an answer, but I find that you get a fantastic outcome. You'll also see that I've got it set to Canvas. So when a chat response pops up in here, it's called a canvas, and it means that I'm able to actually make edits within the document here. So just a great tool if you want to be able to make slide edits yourself. And so it's come out with an executive summary based on all of that conversation, why we should do this, why now, what are the objectives. I haven't given it any pricing information. It might draw on my existing because it knows a lot about me. But it's going to give everything about how we work, you know, what are the deliverables of what we might be able to work together on, any assumptions, any risks and mitigations, who would be on the team, what are the next steps, and then an acceptance letter there. So because I haven't given pricing information, it hasn't offered that up. So super efficient way to be able to generate that. I would also have one of these for creating good follow-ups. So every time I do a meeting, I take that meeting, I pop it into my custom GPT for meeting follow-ups. And it sends out that email in a format that's right for me, which is generally a quick summary, who needs to do what, when do they need to do it by, and what are the next steps after that. So I built a custom GPT for that. I think we're getting a little bit tight in terms of time for doing the third one, which was to be able to create content. What I might do is shoot a little quick piece of content about how we create one of those, and I can share that content with you after the call. I'll also make sure that I'm going to include a link to my North Star generator so that you can create your own North Star and then have your own coach if you want to do that. And you can use that on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, whatever aligns with you. But in the meantime, have we got any questions? We've got about 2 minutes left in the webinar. I see there's one question here from Nat. Thank you. So where are you doing your meetings? In ChatGPT as well. Good question, Nat. I'm not. I do most of my meetings I do in Google Meet, but I use a tool that's called Fathom. And so Fathom is essentially, it follows me wherever I go. So if I use Zoom or if I use Google Meet or if I use Teams, it doesn't matter. It automatically logs in to be able to record what I'm saying. The people who are on the call can see it in the meeting, so they automatically know that the call is being recorded, but I always ask anyway. If I'm doing face-to-face meetings, I use a tool called Whisper. I think it's WHISPR. It's a fantastic note-taking tool. It's really AI-led, as in it was built with AI in mind, wasn't a tool that was built and then had AI added onto it. And so that is a great tool that I use, and I just pop my phone down between us in a meeting, even if I'm in a busy cafe or a loud place or whatever, or if it's called Whisper, if I've got to speak really quietly, it does an amazing job of picking up the conversation, identifying who says what so that it can label the conversation correctly and really understand what took place. But that's a great tool. No problems, Nat. Yep, really happy that was useful, and thanks for coming along today. And good to see you there too, and Nat, and I think there's a few of the honeycombers in there. Jazz, good to see you, and Gabrielle, thanks for coming along. Okay, guys, that's us done. I promised 30 minutes and I've managed to stay right on time. I will shoot those things across as well. So thanks for coming along. If you're watching this in the future, if you're one of the attendees who registered but wasn't able to actually make it, thanks for watching, and feel free to reach out to me. I'll send through an email so you've got a copy of my email address, and I'm pretty good on WhatsApp as well if you've got any questions there. Right, all the best. Thank you, guys.